Well, hello, friends. This is the weekly wrap up with Amy. That's me. I'm Amy Stone, creator of The Art of Imperfect Adulting. And this is a little video where I share what's happening in my world. I celebrate some feedback from listeners if I've got it. And I give you the inside scoop on what was released this week in the past and what's coming up next week. Fun stuff, fun stuff. Let's go. Weekly highlights. Have you ever had one of those weeks where somebody says, "Hey, what have you been doing?" And you're like, "Huh, what did I do?" That is where I am with this. I got to this point where it was like, write out what I wanted to update you guys about my week. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure I did lots of stuff, but it's not coming to mind. What did I do this week? Oh, I did a lot of editing, is really the answer. And that's probably why it feels like there's nothing over dramatic. Editing is, a foundational thing that happens in the background of the show. You should never notice it. So, have you ever had a week like that where you're like, what did I do with all of my time? I'm sure you have. All right, let's talk about what happened this week on the show. There were 4 episodes, which is the release schedule for September. There is at least one episode in September where I like messed with the release schedule and I'm just sticking with it. It's part of being a solo independent show. Like sometimes things are happening. I'm like, why is that way? Just because. All right. So the guest this past week, Janelle Martin, she shares a very poignant and personal story about being a parent of a child, a teenager and an adult child that is undergoing substance misuse, addiction, whatever you want to call it. Listen, this is a part of parenting and family life that even though it happens to many, many people, and it's definitely a mainstream part of life, it's still something that we don't talk as much about in places that it's really, really helpful. It can be a very, very isolating experience when somebody in your family is undergoing something that pushes you out of the mainstream bubble. And substance misuse is definitely one of those situations. So these are stories that are worth sharing, in my opinion. The focus of Janelle's story that we talk about is the work that she did on letting go of trying to jump in and fix her child. So I think you'll enjoy that. Next up, Dr. Angela Downey. Now, she actually told me I did not have to call her doctor. I could call her Angela, but she worked very hard for this title of MD and medical doctor. So I think it's nice to show a little respect with the honorific. I've gone through raising just a gaggle of kids from elementary school to professional life. Two are actually still in school, but one of the things that I have found that experts in the academic scene sometimes share is that people who go on to be doctors and surgeons, they often know that path from when they were very, very young. And they pitch this story where to be a doctor, to get into medical school, you've got to be a top performer from the very, very beginning. Basically, from kindergarten, you're never allowed to veer from the path or make a mistake. And what I love about Angela's story is that her path was not like that. That's not what she experienced, and that's not what she did at all. And I find that very encouraging because if she can find success bringing her dream to reality by going against this deeply ingrained traditional path, I think each of us probably can take steps to move closer to whatever we imagine we want to do. And I find that very encouraging. Next up, Jill Kaufman talks about divorce. I talk a lot about divorce on the show. Relationship changes are a popular topic here. Jill talks specifically about a high conflict divorce. And one thing that's interesting to me about this story is that Jill is actually a professional trained therapist. And even with all of that training, she ended up in a situation in her divorce that wasn't much fun for her at all. And that for me is interesting because therapists are one of the people that when you have relationship trouble, people send you to see therapists. And so there is sometimes this connotation that training as a therapist might be armor or insulation against things going wrong in your relationships or sideways or whatever you want to call it. So the struggle, I think, one of the struggles with sharing divorce stories, it can be that the people who might benefit even more than people who are going through a divorce or thinking about a divorce are actually the people who are in the stage of life where they are planning their forever relationships. The best time to learn about divorce and to prepare for divorce is oddly probably when you are not yet married, so that you can take the steps to set up your life to be resilient in the event of that situation. Not that it's always going to happen, but there is this old-fashioned saying, which is, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So, share this with someone in your life who's planning their future. Share stories about divorce so that they can take steps to protect themselves and their family. Fourth episode that came out this week, Lola McLean. She is a nurse who became a patient. And when she was in the spot of being a patient under the medical care of other people, that changed how she looked at her own profession. Medical care is a hot topic right now in the United States. There are lots of people who have lots of opinions and lots of things to say, me being one of them. Anyway, one of the things that's interesting is no matter what your politics are, no matter what your profession is, a lot of people are coming into agreement or connection over the reality that many parts of our current medical system, basically, they're not working for either the patients or the providers. It's just a full out, doesn't work disconnect. It's a hot mess, in my opinion, which is just an opinion, and no one should listen to me. But I think Lola's perspective is great. And I think it's a fun story, and I hope you give it a listen. So there you go. And now let's look at what's coming up for next week. We've got 4 episodes this week. The guest names are Allie Williams, Tiffany Bibb, Kyla Holly, and Julietta Duvall. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I only post this wrap up on YouTube, at least for now. I'll be back in a day or two with more interviews and stories. You're smart. You know how this works. If you subscribe here on YouTube, then you'll know when there's something new. But if you want the real inside scoop, the offers that are coming from the guests, the things that I'm doing in addition to producing the show, you need to subscribe directly to the email community at the Art of Imperfect Adulting. And that's an email list. You'll get weekly emails updating you on what's going on behind the show. I don't do the timely, deadline heavy stuff on social media. So email is where I let people know what's going on. That's it. That's a wrap. Over and out. Until we meet again, this is Amy Stone, signing off. Thank you for listening today. I hope that you enjoy the show. And before I go, I want to encourage you to become a bigger part of the conversation. Obviously, subscribe wherever you're listening to the show. Listen to more episodes. That'd be great. Again, please write a review and tell your friends about the show. That truly is a great help for getting the show in front of new people. Okay, but more fun for you yourself, head over to imperfectadulting.com and join the email community. You'll get some free stuff right away, and that way you'll begin to get the emails about the podcast. This includes the links for the special offers from the guests, and it's the only way to get that. Also, if you aren't in the mood to listen, I actually include an article directly in those emails. Whee! Now, if you love this and you crave more time with me, Amy, as a coach, a mentor, or just adultier adult, numero uno, check out The Village. If you have a story you want to share with the listeners, I'd love to hear from you. I have an open application. Just let me know you want it. And that's a wrap for today. Until next time, remember, the journey is the destination. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that, not me. Well, until just now, I did just say it. But what I want you to hear today is that if your adulting journey isn't going the way you expected, that may not mean that you're lost. It may just mean that you're on your way. This is Amy Stone, signing off. The Imperfect Adulting podcast is created and produced by Amy Stone and Amy Says So. Anything expressed on this show is offered as entertainment, and the views of the guests may not always represent the ideas and viewpoints of the host. That's me. Amy does not intend or hold herself out to provide professional advice or recommendations of any kind. In the end, you and you alone need to make those kinds of decisions based on your personal and individual situation, needs, circumstances, and comfort level.